Guys, this is Cori. She's amazing. I'm so excited that you're here because I think that the thing that we want to talk about today is something that has really freaked a lot of people out, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I think that one of the things that is the scariest for most people is putting themselves out there, starting to create content, video especially. And right. I mean, I remember early on, you were like, I don't know if I can do this. You're like,
yep.
I don't know. And then all of a sudden something clicked.
Mm-hmm. It was actually the seminar day.
Oh, that content workshop that we did.
Yep. I mean, I've been doing video for a while, but there's still that trepidation of how much of yourself do you really show? Uh-huh. Like, do you video yourself on the days with no makeup and all that kind of thing? You know, and the intimidation out there, there's lots of agents out there that do some really slick, cool stuff. Mm-hmm. But what I've discovered since that workshop day to today is nobody wants that stuff.
No, it's honestly, I think that there's this misconception in the real estate space that polished and slick and uber professional is what people are looking for. And it's actually the opposite.
It is. I mean, the slick stuff and the professional stuff, that's for your listings. That's for your business stuff. I mean, you want to do that top notch for sure. But what I'm finding, people just want to know you.
Totally.
They just want you to be you. Mm-hmm. And it's really strange. I started posting the 30 pieces. Mm-hmm. And I have to admit, I was a little nervous because there's some stuff in there that makes me go, that's
the good stuff. That's the good stuff, right?
And it's true. And the funny thing is, in the last 2 weeks, I was just looking at insights on Instagram.
Yeah.
And in 2 weeks, I have reached 10,000% more people. Like, I was
crazy.
What? Yeah, the reach has been huge. Mm-hmm. Because what I found is the engagement has been huge.
Yes.
Like, people have been saying, wow, that's really cool, or sharing their experience. But I think it all comes down to the video and pictures being
really authentic.
Yeah. It's cool.
Yeah. And I think that something that you're doing really well is that you've gotten over that hump of, I need to be perfect, right? There's an element of like authenticity, and like, you can feel your personality starting to come out of it, which I think with a lot of agents' content, it tends to be very stiff. Mm-hmm. Or it tends to be very like scripted. It's almost awkward to watch sometimes because it is so muted.
Or it's shallow. It's right. They're hitting the surface.
Yeah.
They're not taking that extra step. And I tell you, it terrified me to do it.
I remember.
Because it was like, wait a minute, I can't look like this on camera, or I can't say that on camera, or I can't talk about that situation.
Yeah.
And it's been incredibly, I mean, I don't know, do you get paid for psychology now too? Because I tell you, it's been a huge mind shift for me.
Yeah.
And it's bizarre. And my partner, Kevin, was saying this to me. Oh my God, like you've changed. You've changed. We've changed. Our outlook has changed. And it's amazing how the minute that little switch has changed, that people engage, the positivity gets out there. And I don't know how to explain it.
People are the opposite, are so worried about the opposite, right? They're like, if I put myself out there, there's going to be so much negativity that's going to come at me. And it's the opposite, right? Yeah. As soon as you start showing up authentically and being vulnerable and like putting yourself out there, you 90% of the time, 99% of the time, you're overwhelmed with the positivity coming back at you.
Yeah.
And it just fuels confidence.
Yeah.
Right. It fuels confidence, but it also fuels you to want to create more.
Right. And that's the surprising part. Well, I guess it's not. It's very human that Pavlov's dog, right? You know, you just keep you get positive reinforcement. So you keep doing it and you do it again and you do it and it gets easier. It really does get easier.
For sure. And you nailed it, because it's really uncomfortable in the beginning. It's awkward. It's uncomfortable. You feel really unsure of yourself, but I mean, it's cliched, but that confidence comes with competence.
Yeah.
And the more you get more comfortable doing it, the more confident you are. I mean, when I first, and I say that I tell this story all the time, when I first started creating videos, I used to go on the roof of my building and record them on the roof because didn't want, they're going out there on the internet, right? But I was afraid of anybody seeing me recording it.
Yeah.
And
I still struggle with that, but
well, and the thing is I promise you it's going to change and it'll go away. Like now I'm the person who like just pulls out their phone.
Yeah.
And people are like, oh, she's filming, right? Like it just becomes kind of second nature. And that's what people want. People want that, and I say this all the time. It looks like an ad, it talks like an ad. People scroll faster through it, right? So, it's one thing to do some really professional stuff to showcase a listing. Your listing is product.
Right.
It's very different to manufacture a version of you.
Well, and I think, and I've actually seen this a lot in the, with folks in the Listing Lab program saying the same thing about, oh, I'm terrified to do this, or I can't do it, I'm nervous about it.
Yeah.
And it's really funny. Now I find myself responding back to them going,
you're like coaching them now.
Yeah. It's kind of like, you know what? You are the only you out there, and you are so unique and so cool that like there can't be anybody like you. So don't worry.
That's what is actually attracting business. It attracts engagement. It attracts business because people don't want that stereotypical agent that they see everywhere.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Right. It's in fact, so many people get into real estate and they feel like they have to fit this mold. Or they've been playing that part for so long that anything outside of that feels really uncomfortable. But and like the thing is that everything that you've experienced in the last month is just going to compound.
Yep. And it's been a very quick, I can't even put it into words. I signed up for the program, the TL program in December, got a bit of a slow start.
Yep.
And then sort of caught fire on the seminar day and went, you know what? It's commitment. It's total commitment. I'm all in. Let's go. Let's do the 7-figure program and get moving. And it's been a very quick, mindset change, total mindset change. And I'm feeling it like it's that weird little burning ember that says it's coming. Something's coming. Something really good is coming. You can feel it.
And then the momentum starts to build, right?
Yeah. It's really funny. But I think one of the things that I found really hysterical was some of the comments that I've been having over Instagram or even Facebook of like I think I posted it on the Discord, and it was, I've seen your videos before. You're so funny, and that kind of thing. And I really like, I think you're so authentic, or your realness. That's what it was. And I was like, oh my God, I really am real.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing is that you've made that shift, right?
Yeah.
And the level of real doesn't come out all at once.
No.
It's a little bit of like an onion that you peel away, but you have to be committed to doing it. The way that, just like anything else, when I first started creating videos, I would do my hair and, like things like that, right? Now, like, this is what you're getting.
But it's really funny that the minute that you make that mental shift, that they're not tuning in to see how cute my hair is or how color lipstick I'm wearing. It's actually the opposite. They want to see that, like, don't give me that stuff. They want to see the real stuff.
Yeah.
And I don't know how to explain it, but it's that authenticity that's going to attract your perfect client. And if you're really you, then they're going to be really them, which means it's going to work really well, or it's going to be that person that you never want to work with.
That you never want to work with, right? And that's really the key to really good marketing is actually polarization. It's not only about attracting the clients that you want to work with, it's repelling the people who are really not a fit. And when you are super vanilla, you do neither.
Exactly. And it's so funny now. I mean, I look at I'm not sure if it was a good or bad thing. I did find for myself, I had to start pruning my lists of followers and people I follow, because at one point I was getting a little bit, I guess, contaminated, for lack of a better term, of everybody else's stuff. And I went, well, of course I can't be like that, because that's not me, that's them. or I don't want to, I don't want to have the $100,000 production of my, social media stuff. I'll save that for my listings, or, that kind of thing. But I've really found it interesting to dig deep into some of the stories that you really didn't investigate, that someone else goes, oh my God, that's me, or I experienced that, or that is really cool. And I sometimes think we don't give ourselves enough credit for the amazing things we do on a daily basis. And that's for anybody.
100%. People want the behind the scenes. They want to get to know you, but there's this fine balance of originality and relatability. Right. And I think that, when you give other people, like when you show up fully as yourself, you give other people permission to do the same, or to be that way with you, which then creates instant connection. Right. And I think that there's the one thing that I tell agents to do all the time is unfollow other agents.
I had to do that.
Naturally, you will start to copy what someone else is doing, and it will seep into and impact the way that you're showing up. And I mean, the majority of agents out there who are putting videos out and doing things on social media are actually not doing a good job. So what ends up happening is agents start to emulate and copy bad habits or, lack of strategy. And then we end up in a situation like we're in now as an industry, where everybody is posting the same old stuff, and everything is super vanilla, and very few people are actually standing out and creating inbound business from their social media, from the content that they're putting out there, and it doesn't matter what kind of videos they are, whether they're, value videos, personal videos, case studies, whether they're reels or, IGTVs or 1 minute long videos, it doesn't matter. Like the formula is the same.
Right.
It's just the length of the video changes.
The platform changes. I've really noticed now, like, as you said, there's lots of examples for stuff, people posting stuff. But if I see one more of, I'm the greatest one ever in the whole entire world and you need to hire me, I think I'm
number one.
But I love that. Number one, what? With my mom?
Asterisks, like in my office of 5 people, right? And I think that there's like, it's just so cliched, and like the people make fun of the industry for it. That's right. But agents still do it, and there's a reason why.
And I think I really do believe, I look back at a lot of my previous, like early stuff, and I'm talking, 3, 4, 5 years ago. And it's like, oh my God, I look and sound like every other agent.
and that's okay.
And it's, that was then, this
because
is now.
It's then, right? And I say this a lot, and I'm sure anybody watching this has heard me say this before. You can, and this is something my coach has been telling me for years. I think most agents are creating their marketing and creating their videos and things like that to fill their ego account, right? And you have a choice. You can fill your ego account or you can fill your bank account, but you cannot fill both at the same time. So so a lot of this stuff and a lot of this marketing is geared towards, I want to feel good, I want to look good, I want people to admire me, but it's not going to fill your bank account. So you have a choice. You can either be someone that people look up to or thinks pretty or handsome or, whatever, or looks successful, or you can actually be successful.
Yep. And I don't know, it's kind of cliche, but the louder they are, the less self-conscious they are, the more self-conscious they are. So I just find that some of the louder industries or the louder agents out there, you're like, that's not computing with me. And of course, our industry has suspicion on top of it anyway. We already have people hate hearing from us or hate hearing about us. And then it's this whole industry thing, but the more that we're able to be real, the more that we're able to be to be ourselves, and because we as human beings will niche down our audiences anyway. Right. And I say this all the time, right? Like if I was a 350-pound football playing, white man who yelled a lot, my audience would look very different than it does, because, I'm me and I'm the opposite of that. Right. And so to a certain extent, some people feel like they have to emulate something that they're not. And audiences, people, humans, we're all kind of human lie detectors.
And people can feel, there's something that feels, we don't know what it is.
Yep.
But when someone's faking it,
Ooh.
something doesn't feel right.
Yeah, you're right. It's that icky feeling. It's that something feels a little off here.
Something's not right here, which is why, I believe, is one of the reasons why people are so suspicious of the real estate industry as a whole.
True.
Because there's so much scarcity, there's so many tactics, and we portray this too slick, don't really care, all about the deal, image. And the people who don't do that, the people who show up authentically, who give value, who are, their own selves, whatever that is, whether you're silly, whether, and I say this all the time, if you're funny, be funny. Right. If you're not funny, don't try to be funny.
No,
right?
Just be you. And it's true. Like there's people that I follow in all kinds of industries that are just hysterical. And you're like, how did they think of, where does that come from?
That's their brilliance.
Exactly. Right? But there's also others that know that they're not funny. They don't try to be funny, but they're really quite engaging and charming in their own way. And I think that's probably the biggest key, is connecting with that, who I am, and I'm going to put it out there. And yes, there is that fear of, oh my God, I'm going to be judged. But you know what?
Who cares?
Oh, well.
And the people who, that's just part of creating influence. There's going to be judgment, right? Like,
scary though.
Think about the most famous person that you can think of. Doesn't matter who it is.
Oh my goodness.
Right?
Yeah.
Imagine they have people who absolutely love them, and they have people who hate them. And that's how you actually create a tribe. Right. I'd rather each and every person that I ever work with, every agent has 1,000 people who love them, rather than 100,000 people who really could care less. And when you're vanilla, and when you don't show up as yourself, you could end up with a huge following of people who don't really care, and it doesn't impact your business. Again, it'll help your ego, but it won't help your bank account.
Absolutely. And that's, I think, I guess that whole question of authenticity was just, I don't know, it hit me right between the eyes.
And I saw it right at that content workshop that you came to. Literally, your videos started coming in, and I could see the shift happening. Every video you sent in was just a little bit more authentic, right? And but it happened so quickly.
I know, it really did. And I do look back at those ones that I did that day going, I see it. I get it. Like, that makes sense. And now I guess, I mean, I am still a little bit obsessive about trimming it up and getting and editing a little bit, but I'm trying to do less and less of that, because the times when I trip over my words, or I trip over my feet, because I'm good at that too, that's what people go, yep, you're a real person.
Yep.
Like, it's a weird thing, but that's the connection, as silly as that is. And I think the other thing that I've learned from this whole process is it's okay to make a mistake, and it's okay for the world to know you made a mistake, and it's not the mistake, it's how you dealt with the mistake. And it's interesting, I've had a few people say to me, wow, you're the first one that's ever said to me that you actually don't know everything. Whoa, okay, well, I don't, and I'm lying if I do. So it's an interesting shift, even from the feedback that I'm getting is it's quite interesting. But
I really think that this industry is undergoing a big shift. And as a whole, people are buying trust. And it's not, we're shifting away from that big shiny brand to who is actually going to have my back. Who can I trust? And
it's true.
And the only way to build trust is to be real. And
absolutely.
The number one thing that I love having people say is, I went to a listing presentation, I didn't even have to pitch the business, and they told me that they felt like they already knew me from my videos.
And that's building the trust right there, based on you, not your mask that you wear. It's interesting, and it's been really valuable, and I'm so motivated now from all of this stuff. I mean, I haven't turned into the 7-figure agent yet, but
you're on your way.
Well, and it really isn't about money. It really is not about money. It's about, wow, so this is fun again. Like, this is fun, and I feel recharged and regenerated, and I start to love my job again. Because there was times it was like whose idea was this?
Why did I do this?
Yeah, again, yeah. Why did I do this? To be yelled at, to be insulted, that kind of thing. But I'm finding that
you're attracting different people now.
I'm attracting different people, and the ones that do, bark like that, it's like, see ya. And I feel no guilt. I actually had last week a client, a brand new client, that was referred to me. She had sent me we'd had a nice Zoom call and the whole bit, and they're new buyers. And she sent me a note. She said, we were at a friend's last night, and they said that all kinds of agents are giving huge rebates. What do you do? And I'm like, I don't discount. And I gave her the whole reason, but not really a reason, but I just explained to her what I bring, and I said, you can absolutely go the discount way, but this is the value.
That's not me. Yeah.
Right. And she came back with that's fantastic. We just didn't want to be a transaction to you. And I went, oh, so that was a test almost, but yeah, it would have still been the same response. But it was really empowering to be able to say, look, I'm not going to sit here and justify my value. Mm-hmm. I can prove to you what my value is. I can show you what it is. I'm accountable for it. But if already you're going to try and knock me down on a discount, then we're not right for each other. And I was just like, wow, that was so empowering. It really was.
And again, people don't realize that your marketing impacts every single part of your business. Absolutely. Because it impacts who you do business with.
Absolutely.
And I think this is fantastic. If you have questions for Cori or questions for me about video, about confidence on video, the whole shebang, just let us know. We're here. I want you guys to all fall in love with it. It is fun.
It is fun.
Yeah. And thank you.
And I've had so much fun going through this program, and I am so excited for the next 12 months or the coming 12 months. Is going to be amazing.
It is going to be amazing. And you're doing the things, and you're as much as it's cliche, this confidence and this shift in you is just growth. Mm-hmm, and absolutely. It's not only about business growth, because as you grow, then the business grows with you.
Absolutely. But I have to say thank you for saying no the first time.
I do. And I love that you brought that up, because I think a lot of people think that we just say that. But mm-hmm. If I don't think that someone's right for a program, or I think that it's too early, I say no.
And I have to admit, I got off that very first call going, oh, what do you mean? I thought, oh, I think she's right. I think I'm really not coachable. I think I am being coachable, but I'm not coachable. And it took me about another month or so to get enough, I guess, courage to try and get into the program again. Yeah. But it took a whole bunch of soul searching to go, yeah, you say you're coachable, but every time someone suggests something, you go, my way's better. No, it's not, because if it was, I'd be you.
Well, and that's the thing, right? Like I have coaches, right? Yeah. And I'll go through something, and I've always done it this way. And then, one of my coaches I actually have one of my coaches that's going live in this group tomorrow. And he'll come to me, and of course my ego flares up. Mm-hmm. And then I think, oh, you know what? I pay him the bucks, and there's a reason. And so, maybe I need to look at the way that I'm doing something again. And I think that so many people are just so stuck in their ways that they're not open to, the possibility of what can shift and what can change, and how much easier it can actually be.
Well, I think it comes down to ego. Totally. Like, really, I had to park my ego, which was really hard. I didn't think it was going to be hard, but it was really hard, because I went, wait a minute, I do this really well. And I'm thinking, I've done really well to get this far, but it's not going to take me to the next step.
And that's always the case.
And once that kind of clicked, everything is just fallen into place. I just shut up, I do what I need to do, and I do what I'm told, and off I go. And this has sort of been the surprising result. I have to admit, I'm really blown away by the personal growth and all those little pieces that are starting to come together. But it's building the foundation, which I think this course and this program is really solid in building the foundation of the house before we put the roof on. Because everybody wants to put the roof on. And what's the strategy on social media? Well, you have to build the content. And that's where I think a lot of people, oh, I'll hire that place or I'll hire that place and they'll do it for me. Well, they can't be you.
Well, they can't be you. And like, are they going out and doing all the important work that it becomes the foundation, right? How many social media companies out there are actually going and interviewing the niche of clients that you want to focus on in your specific market? None, right? And so again, like the level of detail, the level of commitment will always indicate the result. Absolutely. And you said something that actually is brilliant. And I think it's important to kind of put some light on it. What got you here will not get you there. And there's an element of like, not like, I'm careful about how I say this, but you know, every single level of business that I've ever been at, whether it's real estate, whether it's this, there's an element of burning it down and building it again that happens at different levels.
Absolutely.
Right? And if you're so attached to what you've done to get here, like I've had calls with people who've said, you know, I built my business on, you know, open houses and cold calling. And I'm like, okay, so how many hours, you know, a week do you spend doing open houses and cold calling? Okay, great. What are your goals? So you want to double or triple your business. Do you have enough time to do 2 or 3 times the open houses and cold call 2 or 3 times the number of people who you're currently calling? And then can you also handle 3 times the business? Well, no. Well, then there's a fundamental shift in the business that has to happen in order for you to get to that next level. Right? And it's just math. But I think we get so attached to, this is the way that I've done it. Or, you know, when I got into real estate, this is what bold leads told me to do, or whatever, right?
Yep.
And so I think that there's an element of, okay, great, it's helped me get to this point. What's next?
It's true. And it's funny. I call it the Madonna syndrome. And I mean Madonna, the singer syndrome. Not like I'm the biggest, huge fan of hers, but I've always watched how every now and then she reinvents and reinvents and reinvents and reinvents. And I
She's
think
adapting.
Absolutely. And I think us as people, let alone realtors, we have to sort of reinvent all the time too, because, you know, a year and a half ago, who knew what a virtual open house was?
Or what a reel was.
Exactly.
Right.
Exactly.
Like an Instagram reel didn't exist, but now you have to, and I think that that's one of the reasons why, you know, that adaptability is directly connected to success.
I agree. Totally agree.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Anyway, you're wonderful. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Well, thank you guys.
Yeah. I mean, thank you for sharing this, because you very quickly shifted that video fear. And I think that so many people struggle with it. So they're like, I'm not, you know, we have these stories of, I'm not good on camera. I don't like myself on camera. I have an accent. I have, you know, there's always a story. And at the end of the day, none of it matters, because, you know, your accent or what you look like on video. I don't always love the way that I look like on video, but fortunately that's my face. So
you know. I know I have the pirate eye. I have the pirate eye, but you know, the thing is, as you said, we all see our own flaws bigger than anybody else does.
Totally.
And you know what? It's just go and have fun. And if anybody wants any, I don't know, words of wisdom or any, you know, pump you up, I'm here.